My name is Chau Trinh, and I'm now an American citizen, but I was a Vietnamese citizen when I was born. I'm 68 years old. I grew up in Vietnam and lived there till the age of 25. In 1945, Vietnam became an independent country. So nobody knew how to govern the country. So there were two groups, one that is leaning towards the communist and said Vietnam now should be communist, everybody would have the same, everybody work all the same, and there's no rich and there's no poor. And then there's the half of the country that say, I'm educated, I went to school, I speak three languages, why should I be the same than that other guy who's working in the rice field? My parents make the choice of going in the South. They decide that they are educated, they want their children to go and have a better future and have a good education, so they went in the South. To us kids and even to the grown-up, going to the South was almost like going to another country, even though they speak the same language, but it's a different accent, and the South is a lot richer. They show a city in the mountain called Dallas, and that's where we went. I was 7 years old, and that was the first time that I stepped on an airplane. And even now, more than 60 years after, I still remember that experience of getting on the plane. We had only 30 days. The American makes the rule. If you want to go to the South, you leave your house, your car, whatever you have, your bike, your dog, your cat, you leave it behind. You go and you sign up that you want to go to the South. Each one of you can have a little suitcase with what you like best, and then you get on the plane. And it's just like the commercial airplane now, except that they remove all the seats to make more room. So everybody sit on the floor because they want to put as many people, because a lot of people wanted to go and the time to go is only 30 days. And we went, I think that it took about 2 hours. And when we got to the airport, I still remember we got off the plane carrying our suitcase and looking tired and speaking with the wrong accent and everything because we came from the north. And there were two lines of people dressed like nurses, and they were standing there, and they had table with a glass of milk and cookie, and they gave us milk and cookie, and it was like going on to heaven. My parents, even though they had a lot of children, they make a lot of sacrifices for us to go to a French school. I'm very grateful to my parents to have made that decision to send me to the French school, because I think life would have been harder for me if I didn't know French. I see a lot of more people now coming from Vietnam. They try very hard, but the language is such a handicap. When I was 15 years old, my father died. My father had stomach cancer and he died. And at that time, there were 11 children. And my mother, like most mothers in Vietnam, was a housewife. She was a very, very good housewife, but she doesn't have any skill to go work in an office. And even if she wanted to work in an office, people wouldn't hire her because it was a male-dominated country. But when my father died at 15, then that caused a big problem because she doesn't know how to go to work. And in Vietnam, because it was a poor country, there's no welfare system. So I had to leave school. I was the eldest one. I had to leave school, so I became a tutor. At 15, I go to rich people's house and I tutor the children. Then my mother passed away when I was only 18 and she was 42. So now I keep on doing what I had to do, but at the same time I also went to night school, so I managed to get I graduated from high school at 18 through night school, and I was on the same path as everybody else. And I went to university so that I can get a degree in teaching, and I got a degree in French so that I can officially become a teacher. And then I met my husband when I was 18. And then we got married when I was 21. And then when I was 22, I had my first baby. And then my husband got killed. I think about the saddest things that happened to me when my husband died, when my baby was only 2 months old, and he was in the war, and he got 1 week time off to go home and see the baby, and so he went home and saw the baby, and he went, and I never saw him again. One day when I was getting ready to go to work, 2 officers show up at my door, and I knew that I know and I didn't know that it's not good news. It was very tragic, but it happened to almost everybody. And yeah, I don't know what to say because, there's like thousands of books that have been written about the Vietnam War and so many opinions about how America should have been in it, should not have been in it, and all those things. But at the end of the day, it's still the little people below who pay the ultimate price. If I was a single mother with just one baby, it would not be very difficult because I would have earned enough to raise a child, and I would pay for a maid to stay home and take care of the child. But because I still have 10 siblings plus a child plus a maid to take care of the baby when I go around tutoring people, then it was very difficult. I had to work 11 hours, and so at home, my siblings, the more grown-up one, would take care of the other one. The older brother would tutor the other. I used to tutor the younger one, but since now I can make money tutoring other people, my brother became the resident tutor at home. And so through that whole system, we put everybody through school so that everybody got at least a high school diploma. Here in America, you see all these movies about the Vietnam War, so you have a distorted view of it. You think that we are always running under the bomb and that people, the enemies are hidden behind the trees and shooting at us, but it's not like that. It's like there are the battlefield where people engage into battle, but there is a normal life. We have a curfew. If you get out after 10 p.m., then you get shot. There are many rules that sounds like we don't have any freedom, but when you live in a country at war, you accept those things. Okay, so when I was about 25, okay, at that time I started with 10 siblings, but at that time maybe I had only 4 left because the guys, the boys got drafted, so they become the problem of the army. So the load was a little lighter for me. And then I started to have friends and everything, and then I was introduced through friends to that American soldier. I remember his name was Maxim. So Maxim, through people that I know, Maxim decided that he would like to meet me. And in order for that to happen, he couldn't go to Vietnam and I couldn't go here. So he would invite me, but it's not like pen pal where you can just come and visit your pal. You have to be engaged to somebody, okay? I wanted so much to go to America because I know that I would have a better future for my daughter, whose father already died. And so I said, okay, I go meet Maxim and then we will get married. It sounds like this is one chance that I have for my daughter to go to America and get a good education and maybe become somebody, okay? So I went, and that's how I got to America. But then when I came and I saw Maxim, he was very nice and quiet and everything. But I realized soon that I don't know him. He doesn't talk. I don't know enough English. I cannot marry that man. Thank God he was such a nice man. He didn't call the immigration service and say, go catch that woman. She's not white. So he just said, okay, sorry, it didn't work out. And then I disappeared. I disappeared from his life. In order to disappear, I had to up all my ties where I was so that the immigration service couldn't find me. So I moved to San Jose with my kid. Coming to America and not knowing anybody wasn't a big challenge to me. Most people it would be difficult, but I think that I already had the big challenge when at 15 my father died and I had to take care of the big family. The challenge actually was how to get ahead of the immigration service and not be picked up and be deported home. What helped me a lot is that I didn't know how to speak English, but I can read it very well because a lot of words are like the French. It's just when I say things, people don't understand what I'm saying because I say it the French way. And so when I applied for a job at McDonald's, I still remember the manager's name was Bob. He was very kind, but he didn't want to hire me because he said, if I hire you, the client doesn't understand. I was getting pretty desperate because I had a little money left to pay the rent, but not very much. And I kept on coming back. I'll show you how strong-willed I was. And then out of the blue, suddenly one night he called and he said, can you come? And I had to listen well because I'm not used to the language yet. And he said, can you come? The cook is sick. I said, okay, I can come and cook. So I came and I flipped hamburger for the next 6 months. And then after I flipped the burger and the French fries for a while, one day he said, Chau, somebody is sick at the counter. You go to the counter. So I went to the counter. I didn't mix up the order, a cheeseburger, a hamburger, a quarter pound. I got it. I was going to school for a business degree. I can get the quarter pound. When I was doing all those things, 3 years after I came to America, the war was lost in Vietnam. The North showed a lot of restraints. They didn't execute people. They sent them to hard labor camps. So people, in order to escape from the labor camp, they went on the boat to America. And people who got to America, they became eligible for citizenship after 5 years. When I saw that people became a citizen after 5 years, and I went to the immigration service and I said I was Vietnamese and I have been here for 5 years. Can I have citizenship? And the immigrant officer was very, very mean to me. And he said, you are not like the boat people. You are an illegal immigrant. You were supposed to go home and you didn't go home. So you can never become a citizen. So I said, but I wanted to go home, but I couldn't go home because Vietnam was lost. But they go, still, if you are an illegal immigrant, you are an illegal immigrant. But they know, and everybody knows there's no more Vietnam. So to deport me, there's no more airplanes that go to Vietnam. So what can they do? They cannot tell me to go jump in the ocean. So they kind of punished me by not giving me citizenship. But they didn't tell me I couldn't work because if they say that, then guess what? They have to give me welfare. So they kind of looked the other way when I was working. By that time, I already finished McDonald's. I have a degree, so I went to work as an accountant. I got myself a degree in accounting. And then after 10 years, one day I opened my mail and there's a letter from the immigration service that say, come here on that day at that address in San Francisco to take an oath to become a citizen. I was, huh? I was kind of crying and laughing at the same time. And I said, okay, they changed their mind. I'm not going to pick up the phone and say what happened, So on the appointed day, I went with my daughter and we showed up and we became citizens. When I wasn't yet a citizen and I met a man that I have known in Vietnam and I married him here, a Vietnamese man, and I had 3 children with him, so now I have 4 children, and then we were married only for 4 years and it didn't work and we left each other, and so I was left with 4 children and no husband. That was a lot more difficult than 1 child. But by that time, I was already an accountant. I have citizenship, but it was still very, very difficult to raise for children on one salary, even the salary of an accountant, and make sure that the children, again, do well at school. And thankfully, they did all well at school. But I brought with me the culture from Vietnam, and looking back, I would admit that I was a lot stricter with my children than a mother in America. And so I had 3 daughters and 1 son, and I sent them to good school, but I expect a lot. I expect good grades. I expect respect at home and homework gone before everything else. And because I was a very stressed out mother with all the stress of work and the stress at home, I wasn't the most patient mother. It was one thing that I regret, that I was very strict with the kids. But then it's difficult to say. There's no, like I said, there's no blueprint for how to do a good job as a parent. When I was working at McDonald's, not only I was supporting me and my daughter, I had to send money home to support those 4 or 3 people who were at home. So with the money that I sent, they saved enough, and they were farming and everything. So all my siblings, we had 11 to start with, but 1 died, so there were 10 minus me, so there's 9, and they all little by little bought passage on the boat, so that within 10 years my sibling came. We took 4 different boats within 10 years, but they all came. So now I have my family here in different cities. Okay. I know about the community. California especially have big Vietnamese community. Unfortunately for me, having left the country for so long, I don't have much in common with the people. I speak the language, and I go and I look at the store and I talk to the people in a very polite way, and I like the food and everything, but we don't have much in common to converse, because having lived here for a long time, I really, really like the French book and the American book that I read, and they cling to the old culture. They read only Vietnamese book and watch only Vietnamese DVD music and everything, so we don't have anything in common. I'm glad that I can still speak Vietnamese perfectly, but we don't have much in common. So I communicate my siblings, and we see each other at holidays, and we try to minimize the communication breakdown. But I have more all of my friends are American people from here, and it's not a matter of discrimination. It's where your mind goes, and you can talk only to people who share the same values that we do. My ex-husband, the father to my 3 younger children, he lived in America and worked in America all his life. But when he was 75, 70, maybe 75, he retired and he went back to Vietnam. But I have no desire to do it. Like I said, I am too immersed in the American culture. I like the book. I like the fact that I can order a book from Amazon and it comes to my house. If I was in Vietnam and I order from Amazon, the likelihood of me ever seeing it is like 0, because the post office and everybody, somebody would just confiscate the book. So, and I have no use for all the books from Vietnam that talk about Long Gone War and all those things. So, no, I cannot.